And yes, you don't want him to turn it over. That's the key. You're going to need him to play better. But with the Browns defense, it's because you look at the AFC right now, guys. We'll get back to the conversation about the Steelers firing in a minute. But because he brought it up, if you look at the AFC, I really don't see a team where I'm like, oh, the Browns can't beat them, right? I mean, right now.
Let me look at them right
now. Now, to be fair, we're also not going to say the opposite.
No,
I'm not going to say the Chiefs can't beat the Browns. I'm not going to say some of these teams can't beat the Browns.
Well, I think the way that the Browns schedule it is for this season, like you're going up against Houston, who's really good. You're going up against Jacksonville. So a lot of the teams that you're going to see maybe in the postseason, you're actually going to see them in the regular season. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how they go up against those guys. Now, defensively, we already know that we can pretty much shut down any team.
Right.
Even the Chiefs, as scary as they may be, they can't catch right now. So
they're the way
the way the defense is playing and our DBs are having those three guys with Ward, Newsome, and MJ3, MJ Emerson. You think you're good. You're like, all right, we can pretty much match up with any of these guys, and that pass rush is going to get there. It's all about, really it comes down to just the development of DTR. If DTR can be serviceable, maybe throw some touchdowns, and not turn the ball over for the rest of the season, then I don't see why they can't go very far in the playoffs and potentially go to a Super Bowl.
Man, I look at it, I watched that game, and I'm watching the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm watching the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, it's not the same Chiefs squad. It's not. When you used to watch the Kansas City Chiefs before, you went into that game telling yourself you better be able to get 35 points.
Yes.
Because if you didn't get that cat the ball back, it's a wrap. Kelsey looks like he's human. He looks like he's still a great tight end, but he's not. I mean, he dropped a couple of passes yesterday.
He is Swifty.
And he put the ball on the turf.
There was so many drops this week. We talk about it with the Browns. The
it was raining. It was raining for the Chiefs.
The bottom line is no team offensively looks completely lights out right now. Miami did early, but you look at the last 4 games, they've only scored more than 21 once in the last 4 games.
And so you're looking at, and so that's the great thing about the Browns. What they do in cold weather or nasty weather is, it fits what they do. It fits their whole, the way they're constituted, the way the roster is put together. And when you talk about the defense, it's almost unfair on third downs. Like the Browns on third down, they can give up 6 yards. And they're like, all right, well, if you give up 6 yards and then we give up 2 yards, that's 8. 3rd and 2s for the Browns are tough. Like, teams are like, I don't know if we can run this. I don't know if we can pass it. Especially if it's like 3rd and 4 or more. They're putting their ears back. You got to get creative against the Browns. And the way they control the ball, you're going to start to be like, listen, we got to get antsy for points. We got to really, because 17-3, that's in the second half, that's devastating.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is I think we all believe the Browns are going to make the playoffs. The difference between the Browns making the playoffs and making a run in the playoffs, ultimately to me, will be about how good a quarterback play they can get. Now, again, their defense is good enough to get them to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Their defense is good enough to keep them in any playoff game. But how far they go will be, is the quarterback play trash? Or is it adequate? That's the difference.
It's very interesting to be in that type of scenario because we talk about Kevin Stefanski as the play caller. Like, everything is fixed. If we get to the playoffs, like, anything they do beyond making it in the postseason, like the success they have, actually comes down to Kevin Stefanski. How creative can you be? You're supposed to be this really good genius at being a good play caller. Can you continue to put your guys in this situation? Can you get that young quarterback ready? Can you get that run game going? Can you get these one-on-one matchups to create these one-on-one
But ultimately, he could call a great game and guys don't execute.
That's true, but
or bad decision-making.
I wouldn't take that out on him, though. But if he's scheming it and it's open, like, that ultimately comes down to DTR, which part of quarterback development is his thing, too.
At what stage, I'm going to ask you guys this question, at what stage would you legitimately start thinking that the Browns have a shot at the number 1 seed? What would they have to
the
do?
number one seed?
What would they have
I think they have a legitimate shot
I'm
right
about to
now.
say right now they got one.
I just don't. I think their schedule is not that tough. Listen, it's not. I'm not saying the schedule is easy, but they're not playing. But then again, I say they're not playing any great teams. I don't know who's great. I guess Philadelphia.
I'm gonna tell you when you can make that talk.
Because I was telling my dad. I said, yo. And if they get to be 8-3,
the next 3 weeks, G, tell me
Yeah.
if they could beat another, because they play the Browns, Rams, and then that Jacksonville
Broncos.
Broncos, Rams, Jacksonville.
Broncos and the Rams are on the road.
Yeah,
I think they're staying on the road.
They are.
Yeah.
They're staying out there.
if you hit if they beat the Broncos, you 8-3, and DTR looks like he's progressing. I'm like, wow, because that's the first time anybody in this city, that's anybody, I don't care how long you've been here.
Yeah.
It is the first time we've legitimately talked about home field.
Well, the
advantage.
Browns haven't won their division since the 80s.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, I mean, it's
Who does Baltimore play next week? Y'all know?
Chargers.
Oh,
They're
that's
at the Chargers.
hard to believe the Chargers are 4-6.
It's so
Are
tough.
they?
I mean,
And I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers win that game.
I wouldn't be surprised
No.
if they win it either. They should have won last week if Quentin Johnston caught that
guys,
ball.
there's not many games outside of a handful of teams on the bottom end that you're like, oh, any team could beat any team. Like, I'm saying the Bengals are done, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Bengals beat the Steelers this week.
No.
So here's you want to hear the Ravens' rest of their schedule?
Yeah, let's play the scheduled game
Let's
for the
play
rest
the
of the
schedule
people.
game. All right, this week at the Chargers.
I'll give them a dub on that.
I think the Ravens could lose that game.
I'll give them a dub.
Then they're on a bye after that.
Okay.
All right. Then they're at home against the Rams. At home, you think they beat the Rams. The
Rams is getting that running back this week too.
They are Kyron Williams,
Yeah.
but
He's on my fantasy
they
team.
lost Cooper Kupp.
They did.
Kupp-
Is he
Kupp
out for?
I don't know how long he's out for. He's a little banged up right now.
You know the doctor that does our doctor reports for when people are hurt. He did a thing on Cooper Kupp last night, and he's just like, I don't know what it is. I think he has like an ankle fracture or something because.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well, if he has an ankle fracture, he's going to be done for the year.
He said it was the same ankle as the one he got surgery
Yeah,
repaired.
and he's getting old. I mean, he's like 31,
The
32.
Rams have got it. After this season, I think they're gonna turn a whole new tide.
But then listen. So then after that, they're at the Jaguars,
It's a good
Tough.
game.
at the Niners,
Tough.
at home for the Dolphins,
Tough.
and at home for the Steelers.
Still tough.
I mean, that's a pretty
the
tough
Steelers
schedule.
beat them the first time.
That schedule is brutal.
The only game that
We
they're
don't
gonna
play the Dolphins.
No.
no.
And we got the Jaguars at home. They got to go at Jacksonville.
And the Niners are back to being the Niners.
Yeah, the Niners look healthy.
Hey,
And,
With an F.
Obviously the Steelers are never a pushover. We know that. The only game they're going to be a big favorite is the home game against the Rams. They'll be a touchdown favorite in that one. Every other game, they'll be no more than a 3 or 4 point favorite, or they'll be a dog probably in San Francisco.
So can we get the Dolphins? I believe the Dolphins are 7-3, right?
yeah.
So can we get the Dolphins schedule?
The Dolphins remind me, they've tailored down, but they reminded me of the Chiefs at the beginning of this year.
They did.
Like when I played the Chiefs when I was in San Francisco,
Yeah.
it was like, what in the world is that? Like that's how the offense works. Like they would get down the field and run stuff, and they would score so fast that you'll be like, what just happened?
All right, I'm expecting the Dolphins to win 4 in a row, but then their last 3 are tough. But here's what we got.
Okay.
Their next 4 games, at the Jets, at the Commanders, Titans at home, Jets at home. I expect them to win all
agree.
4.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not guaranteed.
Wow.
but
Unless
they
Tim
should win all 4.
that puts them at 11-3.
Okay.
Well, if Tim Boyle is that guy, then you never
Their
know.
last 3 games are tough. They got Dallas at home,
That's a tough one.
at the Ravens,
Yeah.
Buffalo at home.
That's a
Buffalo.
tough.
I'm not
That's
giving
a
up
tough.
on Buffalo.
No.
I'm not writing them off.
No. I would,
jumped
but
off
that's
the
a
cliff.
tough. That's a tough.
That's
schedule.
tough.
But they look like they're gonna get 12 wins.
Yeah, I mean, they're in good shape to win 12 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the Browns to win, I mean,
Yeah.
So you got so those are the two.
I think the Browns can win 12 games, though.
I do too.
Now, I don't know what the tiebreaker would be.
Let
with
me look at
Dolphins.
their schedule.
Now the Chiefs.
I'll bring up the Browns schedule.
what's
the
These
Browns
other
schedule?
teams. So the Browns, obviously Broncos on the road, Rams on the road,
Win.
Jaguars at home,
I like
Bears
that.
at home,
Should be a win.
at the Texans,
Should be.
Jets at home, at the Bengals.
That's
Burrow not playing that game. That's a huge difference.
If you had Deshaun Watson,
by the way,
y'all might have won out.
I'm about
Like,
to
if you
say.
had Deshaun Watson, after
especially with Burrow not playing,
Listen,
yeah, especially with him out the year,
the hardest game is the Jags.
you got him at
But
home.
that's
though.
at home. The Texans is certainly not
It's
hard.
going
It's
to
not
be
easy.
a very. I think that's an upset.
I mean,
I think
the Rams, even though it's on the road, the Bears and the
Rams,
Jets
for some
should
odd
definitely
reason,
be wins.
For some
definitely
odd
be
reason,
wins.
the Rams really bother me. For some odd reason,
I think the
you know
Browns-
why? You know why the Rams bother me?
Yeah.
Because of how they're doing it. Because they're staying out on the West Coast in LA.
You don't like that?
I don't. I mean, not really.
I like it with this team because I feel like this team is really committed.
These still.
half
I
Browns
understand.
teams, I
I
really don't
understand
like it.
what you're saying, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, these are still dudes in their mid-20s.
Yeah, I hear you.
now there's one team left. The one I think that those are the three teams with 3 losses. The last
We got to
one,
look at Kansas City.
Kansas City is the last one.
Yeah.
Man, the Browns.
Well,
tried
and
to-
Jacksonville.
They unpredictable.
Jacksonville. How many got? They
Jacksonville 7-3 also. Here's Kansas City at the Raiders, at the Packers, Bills at home, at the Patriots, Raiders at home,
win.
Bengals at home, at the Chargers.
I've got Jacksonville right here if you guys want to hear this too.
Go
Yes.
ahead, Jacksonville.
You've got at the Texans, at home against the Bengals, at the Browns, versus the Ravens at home, at the Buccaneers, versus Carolina at home, and then at Titans.
Oof, I don't like their end schedule is easy. Those last
Yeah,
They got 2 or 3 more losses.
It's gonna play itself out.
Wait,
It-
it's way
it's
too.
going-
The schedule game's fun, but it's way too early.
It's way, a little too early.
It's
Like
tight.
that's so.
The
when-
Browns are in that conversation, which is a lot of fun.
It's
yes,
tight.
they need to get to about 9-3.
Yeah.
If they get to about 9-3, you be like, okay, the Browns
That's why I said after the Jacksonville game, I will know.
because that's
What it is.
that's a head-to-head matchup.
I feel like if they take care of business against Denver, they'll beat the Rams. I feel very good about them. I really feel good about them winning these next 2 games. And I think that Jacksonville game is going to be tough. That's going to be a battle. Jacksonville's defense has gotten better as the year's gone along. Trevor Lawrence has been a little up and down this year, but he's a good player.
He played well last week.
He did.
He's
They got good talent at wide receiver. They got
very sneaky talent at receiver.
Yeah,
Christian Kirk, remember when he got made
And
that
we were all
one-
killing him.
Yeah, and he like
Killing
they
them.
leading guy.
He's been great.
Calvin Ridley,
Ridley's good.
Nice, good tight ends.
You know, Evan Ingram's a good tight end. They're-
ETN catches the ball out of the
ETN is
backfield.
tough.
Yeah, I mean, they just a really solid. They're a solid team.
Browns will have to earn it. Browns, if they get,
No doubt.
if they would have got, if they get the first overall seed, which is, I can't even believe I'm saying that.
Yeah.
If they get that, they would have had earned it because they got some games. Even this Denver game
Oh
is
my
not.
God,
You're
Yeah.
right though. If number 4 was back there, we'd be like, oh yeah, they gonna win out.
Yeah,
They
especially the
literally-
way he was progressing. But it is what it is.
Right.
They're going to have to win on defense, not turning the ball over.
That's it.
One thing they're going to need, the running game's got to be better.
Yes.
think. I mean, we've debated how good the running
Yep,
game is.
no, and I'm
it's got to be better. It's certainly got to be better to win consistently
Yeah,
than it was last week.
because them holes that he's missing or the cuts that he's missing,
Yeah.
they need those yards.
Play Pierre